All right, guys, welcome to the final tribal council. Jordan, Julian, and Colin, you guys have made it as far as you can go in this game. Now the power will shift to the jury. 10 people you had a hand in voting out will be deciding your fate tonight and will be crowning a winner of Survivor Conquest Season 8. So if you looked at main chat, I already have an order. I randomized it, and we're going to go in reverse order for closing statements. So you have 5 minutes for an opening statement, 5 minutes for a closing statement. And then jurors will ask questions. They do not have a time limit, but you guys do the finalists. So first person that will be starting us off with final tribal council is Jordan. So I'm going to get your timer ready. You have 5 minutes to give your opening statement, and your time starts now.
What's up, jurors, whether you were my ally or my competitor. Firstly, I wanted to thank all y'all for playing with me. I had so much fun this season, and that's not possible without friends to play with, or dedicated, fun, creative hosts like Isaiah and Kyle. My game had ups, it had downs, and above all else, it had heart. Not only did I outplay and outlast as I usually do, I feel like I outwitted people who are miles smarter than me at certain points, something that my game has always been lacking. But that's understandable, seeing as my last time playing Conquest for an extended period of time, and today I got my driver's license, completed 2 years of school, and graduated, and you learn a lot in that span. And this new upgraded version of me is capable of many things, and this new upgraded version can now lie, which is fun. I was always terrified of voting out my allies because I was scared that they wouldn't want to be my friend after the game, but this time I was ready to do whatever it took to win, and I'm ready for critiques and criticisms that would have sent me into a fast downward spiral in the past. So let's get it on. My starting tribe, I stumbled ass backwards, which is a common theme. I tend to do that a lot, into being a 5-person alliance, the Pentagon, comprised of Curtis, Julian, Owen, Mason, and myself. And I was able to earn a steal a vote advantage from the social search and was able to pin Noah for being the one with the advantage, for being the one to have the advantage because he put Julian and Danny as the ones with the advantage, and so we just kind of went with him. And so then right after, I got screwed by Isaiah, where I got to be a general manager and drafted my team. I drafted Landon, Owen, Julian, and Emily. And I went to send in my 5th round pick to Mr. Commissioner. And Isaiah announced that the 5 remaining players would form their own Will Coleman themed tribe. And Curtis was not drafted, and he became very, very upset. So I was not good, but I had a situation brewing because my steal a vote required me to vote incorrectly at a tribal council, and with 5 people per tribe, I really could not afford to lose a vote and vote incorrectly when the numbers are that tight. And so I was able to win both immunity challenges for my tribe, especially in carry the load, because I knew I needed to win those 2 challenges. And then merge hit, and Curtis survived, which was elite for my game. However, I was informed that a second plane did in fact hit the Pentagon, and the entire alliance was leaked. That made 2 sides form, and that became apparent when Owen was targeted right out of the game, who was my number 1 at that point. Because of the large numbers, though, I could activate my advantage safely by rogue voting Emmy, which is something that nobody knew about, and that avoided the pickle. Then one of my favorite reoccurring things happened, where Mason, McGuire, and I cooked up in the
2
kitchen.
minutes left.
McGuire and I knew that we were major. McGuire and I knew that we were major targets going in the next few votes. And we were able to form this new group, and we were able to take out Shay, which was a very group effort with Mason, McGuire, and and Corey, which I can exclusively take credit for because I read the situation and I knew that McGuire was playing an idol for Mason. Devin most likely was going to play an idol, and so I could put 2 votes Corey, that being myself, and getting McGuire to put his vote that he got from Landon on Corey, and 2 votes sent Corey home. Then it went into a weird middle stage where McGuire went home, which was not good. And then Danny went home, and I was able to play both sides there by voting for Landon and telling Devin that I would put a frowny face next to it to reassure Devin. And since I knew that Devin and Curtis weren't connecting, Curtis would never find out
1 minute
that I
left.
didn't vote for Danny, and Devin knew for sure. that I did vote for Landon because of what I told him I would do. And then near the end, I knew I needed to buck up because I my threat level was gaining very much momentum. But I was able to use my steal vote correctly and maintain secrecy about my idol into the end game so that the floodgates would not open on
30
my threat level so
seconds.
that I could get okay, thank you. And so that I could get so that I could maintain secrecy on my idol, so that at final six I would still be able to get my social vote um, in order to compete, win immunity, play an idol at 5 successfully, and then win fire. And so I very much appreciate it, and I wish Colin and Julian good luck because they were fierce competitors and deserve the utmost respect tonight.
All right, just on time. So moving on to the second person. Colin, you're up next. Your time starts now.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm not gonna waste your time with the 5-minute speech. I'll keep it as short as possible, but pretty much coming into this game, I knew absolutely no one. So I had to start from like the bottom. Throughout the game, I surrounded myself with the big targets and people who were being talked about a lot. And I made a lot of little moves that helped me get further in the game and also guarantee my spot in the final 3. So I would love to explain everything in more detail, but that's it for now.
Okay. Julian, you're up next. Your 5 minutes starts now.
Okay. Before I start my speech, I wanted to thank everyone for the wild ride that we've had together as a cast. The season has been truly one for the books for me. Coming into this season, I had a lot that I wanted to prove to myself. I had a very clear-cut strategy. When I entered the game, I took a look at the competition and assessed their threat level. This allowed me to decide who I can trust and eventually led me to explore the potential social connections they may have with other people in the game. They're doing research on everybody that was in the game. I wrote all of this down in my notes in order to make sure that I didn't forget when the time came to use these observations to my advantage. I would even go as far as to plan out my conversations in order to drive the narrative out to how I wanted them to play out. This was part of the reason why a lot of the times when I would say things, I would be very careful with my word choice to try to drive conversations a certain kind of way. Whether it be plant seeds to eventually vote out a target that I might be plotting to gun for at some point in the game, or whether it just be to further alliances that I wanted to make. That was the path that I chose to take for that. From the day the game started to right now in this moment, I've been working hard, whether it be by planning out what I thought was the best path forward to cultivating alliances that I could stick with, that would help me get further in the game. I made sure to have people at each stage of the game as my shields, such as Mason, Curtis, Jordan, and Danny, would always get looked at instead of myself. I made sure to maximize my social game to the highest degree and be as socially savvy as possible by reaching out to people, by again cultivating relationships and making sure that I gather as much information as I needed to then seed plant again when the circumstances needed that to happen. The way I did this was by keeping connections on every side of the game, so I always knew what was going on at all times. This allowed me to cover my bases and protect myself at each stage of the game, and in the process, again, plant seeds where it needed to be planted in order to make certain things happen in my favor. The best example of this was when the Danny tribal was about to happen, when minutes before the tribal, I told Landon that Danny had an idol, which I did in order to further secure him in on the plan in case he was planning on wavering. And since I knew that fact, it also allowed me to be able to then my mind is on blank. It allowed me to then be able to throw my vote because I thought about if I were to get here, I wanted to make sure that I was the only person that could say that I was the only one that got 0 votes cast against me the entire season. So that's why I planted my vote on Colin to prevent him from being able to have that on his resume. That was like, again, that wasn't a fluke. That was ultimately due to me striving to keep myself in a position to play the game perfectly in the middle while flipping when necessary, while remaining under the radar in the process. I won immunity when it mattered and even utilized the social savvy twist to further ensure myself a spot. And ultimately, throughout this game, I had 4 people who I was closest to and went as far as I could with before taking the necessary shot at those people, which were Danny, Mason, Jordan, and Emmy. These people were my closest allies in the game, and I only took a shot at them when I felt like the timing was absolutely right to further secure my path here. I feel as though all of these qualities show that I am the most worthy out of the three of us in the final three to be awarded the title of Sole Survivor because I fought, planned, worked to get here. I managed my social and strategic threat and my overall threat level the best I could so that I could remain under the radar the entire game. I made moves when I needed to make them, jump ship when I needed to jump ship, and ultimately won challenges only when I needed to secure my spot here. And I played the game in the most social savvy way possible to get here after making all of the moves I made and receiving 0 votes cast against me in the end. So for that reason, all of those reasons, that is why I feel as though that I deserve to win this game. I'll answer any questions you guys have. Honestly, I will not hold anything back. I will explain everything in detail. And I'm just ready to get to the questioning. I wish everybody the best of luck, and I'm thankful that we had such an amazing season.
All right, so that is it. Opening speeches are now done. So now I'm going to go to each juror and ask them to give their jury speech. So Devin, you said you had to go, so I guess I'll have you do that first. You can go whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I know. Gail or Shy, you're the host. Is yours going to be quicker or yours going to be probably longer? Because I know you got to go for that.
I can't answer that.
I'm saying, is your speech now going to be quicker or longer, not your game?
Oh, I don't know. You got.
Okay, all right. So I'm just gonna go, and if he runs out of time, if they run out of time, then they run out of time. So, with that, y'all, normally I pre-write a speech and I eat y'all up. You guys should be thankful I didn't have time to write a speech today, so I won't be as mean as I was planning. But this makes it perfect because for y'all who like to be super nice, y'all get to be mean. So before I allow you guys that opportunity, think about how you're gonna do that. Before I allow you that opportunity, I'm gonna kind of speak because I'm honestly disappointed. And Colin, your speech was cute. It did what it did. I love you, Colin, personally. I don't know if my vote's going to you. You're going to have to do some real hard swing, but so glad I met you. The other two of you, you guys both speeches disappointed me like a lot. During both of you guys, if you guys noticed, I was washing dishes, but I popped in the camera during both of you guys' speech and did one of these because the math didn't math, right? So I'm going to start with you, Jordan. Love you, Jordan. The only part, oh my gosh, see, this is why I should have wrote notes, but I was washing dishes because normally I'd be writing notes. There was one part that you had mentioned that had me a little like, oh, yes, your threat level being raised towards the end. Because my perception, or the early on threat level, my perception was early on in the merge, you were a big threat, Curtis, the whole nine. And then around the time when Curtis went home, right before Curtis went home, and when I went home, your threat level went like this. And then it did jump back up. I'm not taking anything away from you. It did jump back up. But from my perspective, it started to diminish just like mine as well. And so that part was the only part I think about your speech. I was like, huh? Right? Julian, I want to know, what were your notes on me, your first that you wrote on day one? I want you to read them to me because you said you'd studied them and wrote notes so you can go back to them. And while you pull that up, the part that made me go like, huh, with you wasn't because I disagreed with what you said, but we had a conversation in the jury and Curtis, and I just kind of felt this way. A lot of your calls, like our one-on-one calls, did feel very staged. And we were like, Julian is phenomenal texting and makes people feel great when you're texting him, right? But over call, I always was like, okay, I feel like this is staged. And I think Curtis shared the same sentiment. I don't know if other jurors felt the same sentiment, but I know Curtis shared that in the jury chat. So when you on your speech are like, oh yeah, I was ready for these calls. I kind of knew how to point a direction. You know, when we're all feeling like, okay, wait, this call feels staged, I don't know if that's like a bragging point. You get what I'm saying? But I do want to hear your notes about me from day one.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you my notes, and then I'm also gonna rebuttal about why it is that I plan things ahead of time as well. If that's okay.
second part yet because you will have an opportunity to address something like that. Just answer the first question because my next question is for you and Jordan, and you'll have a chance to kind of go into that if you want to.
Okay. Okay. So
Yep.
I didn't write a bunch of notes for everyone like when the game first started, but some of the bullet points that I wrote down was that I knew that you were somebody that knows a lot of people on the side of the fandom. So I knew there was a
Okay.
chance that you had some connections that I may not be aware of. So I had to be careful what I said to you in the early stages. Another thing that I noted was that I know that you are known as someone who is a very, very good player who is able to utilize their spot at being at the bottom very effectively to get very far in the game. Because that's something that I was told by other people, like during the game. So I
Yeah.
made note of that. But those were the only real notes that I really had about you, because that was
Okay.
the only things I really knew about you right before the marooning took place.
Okay. Okay. That's fair. I was expecting a little bit more just because, like, I think I'm one of the bigger names, but everything you said there is true, so you don't lose any points there. This question's for both of you. I've been mean all season. Both of y'all have, and actually, Colin, just because I want to see Colin get a little spicy, you too. This question for all three of you. I've been mean all season. I've been an asshole all season. You're going to see my confessionals. I'm still an asshole. Yes, ma'am? No, I'm coming right back down. I just had to do something quick, Mom. Yeah.
Real.
Y'all in trouble. So my question for all of you guys is Colin, you can pick who you go after. But Julian and Jordan, my vote is probably most between the two of you guys. And Colin, you can sway me. It's gonna take a lot, but it can be done. But Jordan and Julian, I really want y'all to not be nice. And if you turn nice, you lose my vote. I need you to rag the other person's game. Why is your game superior? How did you eat them up on every aspect of the game? And do not be nice because you will lose my vote. I promise you, you will lose my vote. And if I'm
I
not
can
in
go
camera, by the way, because I'm washing dishes.
I don't know if y'all want to think, but I can go first if that's all right with everybody. Okay. And so see, I just interrupted them, Devin. I didn't even give them a chance to go first. Ooh, but my big thing with Julian's game, especially near the end, and this goes for everybody at that end game, is that they tried to take the easy cowardly way out of not voting for me for the social vote for the challenges because they wanted to take the easy way out because they knew that they had no shot at beating me, whatever the challenge was, and they still failed. And I'm still here. And so I think that was a big, big whiff on their part because it exposed that they wanted to take the easy way out and they even failed at taking the cheap shot.
Was that all you had to say?
Yep, that's what I had to say. That was mean to y'all.
Okay. So here's my problem with Jordan's game. Okay. So he was someone that had a target on his back for a good portion of the game. Of course, the threat level went down and went back up. But the thing about it is that I never really had a target on my back. I was able to maneuver the game and make moves and not have to worry about being targeted because I was in good with so many different people and on all different sides of the game that I didn't have to worry about having to find ways to survive. And then at the end of the game, I made sure that I secured my spot. And yes, of course, Jordan is still here. But I don't think that that is the cheap way or the scared way to play to prevent somebody from competing in a challenge, utilizing a twist to your advantage in order to make sure you can get yourself a spot to the end. That is what I did. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that at the end of the day. And I think that when it comes down to it, that yeah, Jordan made it to end, but honestly, I was going to throw myself into fire. And I guarantee you that if I had playing cards, I would have beaten him in the fire making challenge. I definitely think I could have done it. But that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, I'm gonna go after Jordan on this one. So
Can I go
Jordan,
up to Colin? Oh, sorry. Can I go up to Colin?
okay, so Jordan keeps saying that that we took the easy way out and that we didn't vote him into the challenges, which in my opinion, that's the whole point of the twist. And if he's like, he shouldn't be mad at us for that. He should be mad at himself and mad at Isaiah for that. One, for creating the twist, and two, he put himself in a position where no one wanted him like in the game anymore. As Julian said, Julian was never a target. I was never a target. We never had to worry about being voted out. And Jordan did, because he put himself in that position and he isolated himself. Also, there was one challenge where Jordan had an advantage, which automatically gave him the win, because whatever, we all did pretty bad at that challenge, but he didn't do anything and he got a free pass to winning immunity. So he's saying that we're taking the cheap way out, when in one of the challenges he took the cheap way out too. So that's all I have to say.
Which challenge was?
For literally, okay, I'll let you in. That's Columns. But
No. Challenge was that? Just for my knowledge.
a memory challenge, and I had a challenge advantage that I got at the auction that allowed me to go to like the third pattern until I had to compete. And they all lost before the third pattern took place.
Okay. All right. So with that, I'll just say this. Thank you guys so much for answering those. Even if y'all don't believe me, or if it didn't seem like that, I actually really did have fun this season playing with all three of you guys. And personally, I think I'm so happy to meet you, Julian, and you, Colin, personally. Really great people. Jordan, it's all love personally with you. So thank you guys so much. And then thank you, Isaiah and Kyle. I had a lot of fun. And Shy, because that was my duo.
Okay, thank you, Devin. Shy, if you need to go early as well, you can go.
Okay, sorry, I'm playing Dead by Daylight.
No, you're
So
fine.
if I'm being, I fucking just messed up. Ooh, why is the killer there? Okay, so no, don't kill me. Fuck. Okay, let me think of
Monkey sounds.
Then shut up. Okay. Oh my god, I'm gonna fucking die. Anyway. So 1 second. I have family.
This
So
is
what
already
was
my
the
favorite jury
question?
statement ever.
What
That was a real. I didn't. What was the question?
That might have
I
been
was
my favorite jury
confused.
statement ever.
Curtis, what? You are
Okay, I'm here. They're gonna kill me.
Look, I mean, I was saying
Curtis, what are you
I was
saying
saying
in
my
the
jury question
chat?
if we're
I
still
feel
waiting.
like I feel like that's Curtis's son.
There is no way Curtis would say that in the chat.
Yeah, that's his son, probably.
Okay.
Can I say my jury question if we're still? Oh no, wait, go on.
Okay, so I have a question for all of them, only because like obviously like I went out early, so I didn't really see your games minus from what I've heard. Colin, I don't know what you did. So could you tell me what you did? Because I wasn't here for your little speech. I don't really want the long version. I just kind of want a short version because I don't care. So can you just like give me a little short version?
Yeah, so pretty much I'll just go from merge on. Since the merge, I made it a priority just to surround myself with people who were not only like big threats, but people who were like being talked about a lot. An example being Danny, Devin, Mason, like they were always being talked about. So I knew that I would never be targeted. And that's why I made it as far as I did. And now I'm in the end. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Julian. I think a lot of jurors feel this way. It feels like you were I'm about to go down. It feels like you were good in text. Like you were always active in text. You were delivering in that aspect, but like it feels like you were kind of a robot otherwise. Like it never felt real around you when you went on calls. It was kind of just like a very one note. I really do want to know like what exactly you did in this game yourself. And like obviously like you need people to do a plan, but I want to know like something that is remarkable about your game because I'm not seeing it.
Okay, so one of the things that is remarkable about my gameplay is that I plan what I'm gonna do ahead of time. So I make sure I plant seeds to start plans in advance. So like for example, when the time came to get rid of Danny, I knew that it was coming soon. So what I did was is when people like Curtis would come to me and say, "Oh yeah, like I'm getting fed up with Danny and stuff like that," I coasted up that fire. I would agree with him on some of the things that he would say in order to then boast it up so that when the time came to take the shot at Danny, then someone like Curtis will be pushing for it, and then I can also get other people pushing for it, and that way the move will happen. I did that with a lot of different votes, even with the Curtis vote. Like when I told Landon about Danny's idol, and then by doing that, then Landon then compared notes with Curtis after tribal council. And what that did was that made Curtis think, well, wait a minute, did Landon actually vote with us? Because this doesn't make sense. So then I was able to pin them against each other, and then that caused Landon to want to take the shot at Curtis. And then after that happened, then Curtis ended up getting voted out. So those were the things that I did to make moves happen, so that way I could stay under the radar but still get things done. And also to address the comment about the reason why like I kind of plan when I'm talking in voice calls. So the reason why I do that is because so I have ADHD. So a lot of times, like when I'm in conversations, like I'll lose my train of thought or like I'll zone out. And to prevent that from happening, I kind of try to, especially when I'm playing a game, so people don't think I'm being shady, because this even happened with Landon later in the game. Like I'd be talking to him and I'd be thinking really hard about something and I would zone out and he'd be like, oh my gosh, like you're making me nervous. You're making me feel like you're thinking of something shady. So that's the reason why like I have to plan stuff out to try to keep myself grounded, if that makes sense. So that is the reason why I do that. Otherwise, I wouldn't do that and I would try to play it by ear. But that just keeps me from being perceived as being like shady or not actually being down with something that I'm talking about with somebody.
Okay. I get it, honestly. Especially with ADHD, so I understand that. All right, well, thank you. That was insightful, actually. I'm surprised. And Jordan. Oh, and I'm dead. Okay. Jordan, I feel like obviously you were kind of like the front runner for this final tribal council. You were one of the best players of this season. This is more before I ask my question. I know they were like saying like it was more your fault that like you couldn't play in the challenges because you couldn't manage your threat level, but like it wasn't really your fault that you played so good and they didn't. But yeah, please
Right.
explain more why you're the best player here.
Okay. I feel like because the reason why I think I'm the best player this season is because I played on I had moments on every single side of like the coin. And so I had moments where I needed to holy crap, I also somebody with ADHD and that chat is driving me nuts. um, but in terms of playing all facets of the game, I was able to play from an underdog standpoint to get myself on top at the merge, to work with Mason and McGuire to pull off a couple of moves. And then when my threat level started to get too high, especially at the McGuire vote, where Danny and Colin both voted me, I knew that okay, my target is getting big. I need to hunker down. But the difference between what I did and what somebody like Mason did after after we got that wake up call was Mason's flame just went out. Mason didn't try. Mason just said, "Okay, tell me what to do." Blah 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 blah. Whereas I took those opportunities to still be making moves and culminating things, still being in the kitchen, so that then at around final 7, I could make that move on Devin using my steal a vote to take Mason's vote when I knew there was a leak. So that then that was a successful steal a vote play, making my target super huge. However, it because of the work that I'd done in that middle portion where my gameplay sort of like filtered off to avoid becoming too big of a threat. Because of that, at final 6, I was still able to get a social vote, and that's all I needed to make my run to the end. That's all I needed to make it to final 3, and that's the thing with them saying that it's my fault for not being able to compete in final 5 and final 4. I'm pushing that because they wanted to take that easy shot, but I didn't need those the to be able to compete in those immunities. Like I just said, okay, are people going to vote for me at final 5 and final 4? Because I knew I didn't need it, because I knew that I was already locked in to at least fire. And so I just needed my social game to last for that little bit until I could make my run. And that's and I think it's that timing and that ability to and that awareness to put together my game and knowing where I am at any given point in order to give myself the best possible shot to get to that end point. And I think that's what sets me apart from Julian and Colin in this game.
All right. And I mean, honestly, kudos to you. For someone who couldn't compete, you still made the final three. So you fucking ate that.
All right. Thank you, Shy. Moving on to Owen. You're up next.
Sorry, I was not prepared to go at all, but so when I went out of this game, I was probably the most mad I've ever been, clearly. However, I've since calmed down and I'm pretty sure I know what I'm doing tonight, but not certain. When I look at Colin's game, I look at someone that people are going to assume is going to be a zero vote finalist GOAT, which is a fair assumption, but I want to give Colin the opportunity to give me an example when you were a leader and not a follower.
Let me think. Yeah, there's no like real examples of that. The only thing I can think of is I don't even know remember what vote it was, but yeah, I don't have anything.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. As for Julian, I think that I'm, because personally for me, when I got on call with Julian, like, I don't know what other people's experiences were, but like, I mean, they were good discussions. Like, I don't feel like Julian acted like a robot to me by any stretch of the imagination. So I don't really know where people are getting. I mean, obviously, I have different experiences than other people. I'd say for opening speeches, Julian probably gave the best one, just because he kind of explained a little bit more to me, like what his strategy was going into the game and how he performed it. But then kind of Jordan had a better response to Devin and Shay's questions. So I'm a little stuck up there. I guess I would say, okay, I have some other questions that maybe could help me. So, Jordan, I want you to tell me why you voted out Landon.
I chose to vote out Landon because Julian had immunity and Landon had the best shot at beating me at fire.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I was practicing cards, so Jordan made a correct decision there. I was practicing card stacking because I wanted to go against him and make a move, so Jordan's right.
Okay. Oh, okay. Julian, I want you to give me what your strategy was going into the merge and how you perfected that strategy.
Okay, so my strategy going into the merge was very clear cut. I was put into the Monkey Business Alliance, which then allowed me to be a part of the side with Devin, Shay, Corey, Danny, and those people. And I also had connections with Mason, Jordan, yourself, etc. So what that allowed me to do is that allowed me to position myself in the middle of the game, so that way I could pivot information back and forth to both sides, so I could try and dictate how people were taking shots to keep myself safe while people were taking shots at each other. And I think what culminated that as being a set in stone strategy that worked well for me to get me to this point was when Shay went home, because it allowed me to then pivot back and forth even better, because that alliance was split apart and the other side was scattered. So pretty much in a nutshell, what my strategy was really was just to make sure that I maintained the spot that I had already had myself entrenched into pre-merge and allowing myself to get here without being targeted, without being seen as a threat, without being seen as someone who can potentially win this game. Even throwing challenges, which is something I don't think a lot of people knew. I threw a lot of those challenges because I didn't want to be perceived as a physical threat. I wanted to do everything in my power to make myself seen as small and minute as possible while still making moves, while still getting things done to further myself in the game. So that was my strategy, and that was the way that I executed it all the way throughout the merge.
Yeah, thanks. Trying to think if I have anything else to ask. Okay, I just have one more statement. Jordan, I love you, man. You are, but please, dude, like, just don't sell this. Like, I'm begging you, dude. You are notoriously known for having some of the worst final tribal performances in the history of the fandom, and I'm just, please, dude, like, don't make me vote Julian, bro. But I will do it. So please, just don't mess up. That's all I have to say.
All right, thank you, Owen. Moving on to McGuire. You're up next.
All right, before I get started, I'm gonna do what encapsulated my entire season. Okay,
Better be non-alcoholic.
that was very much alcoholic. Okay, I have actually been taking notes of each of like what you guys have said over time because I haven't been very active. I haven't gone to any of the tribals. I haven't really gotten to experience a lot of the game after I got voted out because I was on vacation. I wanted to experience my vacation, and I've just been going through a lot with soccer and just a lot of my life. So I'm gonna start. Who should I start with? I'll start with Colin. Honestly, Colin, I really wish you and I actually talked more because you were someone that especially leading up to my vote, I actually really, really wanted to work with. We like vibed over like certain things. I don't know if you wanted to work with me, but I personally really wanted to work with you. And you were honest with me with most things, which I do respect. I will say, and other people have already said it, I do feel like you're being a little bit mundane with the answers that you're giving. And that's no shade towards you. I just feel like I want to know a little bit more about your game and what you've done to I guess get more votes than the other two sitting next to you. That's pretty much it. I'm gonna move on to Julian. It's pretty much the same thing that everyone else has said already, but your social game is just bad on call. Like I'm sorry, but I have ADHD too. So I completely understand where you're coming from with that, but you at least have to put on at least a facade that you seem like you're enjoying the call because when I remember when, to be fair, you were working, but I remember when we would call, I would have to say things over. I would have to say things, and I was like spurring up every conversation, and it just seemed very like it didn't seem fake, but it didn't seem legitimate that I could trust you in a way. And that I will say is a legitimate knock on your game. You were great in DMs. I think you did what you, sorry, I think you did what you had to do to get here, which I do respect. And I actually do respect you for being completely honest about that you did vote me at my vote out. I don't think a lot of people would do that in general. So I do respect that, but this season's literally called Social Savvy, and your social game kind of lacked in my opinion. Jordan, I mean, you and I were connected really well in this game, but don't think just because of our connections that I'm going to automatically hand you my vote. I'm going to come into this with an open mind, I guess, even though I just drank some beer. But I forgot I'm not going to lie, I completely forgot which vote you said you took independent credit for, but I do think in the early merge, I don't think you have the right to take any independent vote necessarily just because of how messy each vote was. You can correct me on all three of you guys can correct me on anything that I said.
Okay, can
That's
I
what
say
I'm gonna
something?
do. Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to say that the the vote, it's like the Shea vote was you, me, and Mason. 1000%. That was a three-person effort. We were in the kitchen cooking that up. Um, I'm just saying the aspect of voting for like me rogue voting for Corey and you putting Landon's vote on Corey, that was my idea because you wanted to put votes on Landon there. But I wanted to weaken the other side further and put our votes on Corey because just in case of the double idol play that we were pretty sure was going to happen. And so if we were pretty sure it was going to happen, I thought it would be better to put it on somebody active, an immunity threat, somebody who wasn't really working with us in that early merge, rather than Landon, who was actively like helping us like be a vote.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna keep it short. You're not gonna get any old McGuire jury speeches. I just wanted to say to all three of you, because I would be shocked if you guys aren't composed. Just take a minute, take a sip of water, keep your heads in check, and just stay composed because you still got a lot more jury members coming at you. I'm leaning towards someone to vote. I'm not gonna say who it is yet, because I'm gonna keep you guys guessing. But I genuinely do wish you guys the best of luck going forward in this FTC. And thanks for Kyle and Isaiah for having me again. It was a blast.
Wait, can I answer his question now?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I completely forgot about that. Yeah, Julian and Colin, if you want to answer my questions, go ahead.
Okay. So first off, I do want to say for the time that you were in the game, you were the person that I talked the most like personal stuff with. Um, on a game level though, I honestly never felt like you ever really wanted to work with me, even though you said you did. And I think the point where I realized that, well, I that made me think you didn't want to work with me was at the Shea vote when I was completely blindsided on that, and you never like came to me about voting for Shea, which definitely threw me off a little bit. And honestly, that's why I felt okay voting you out at the final 10 or whenever you were voted out. Because when it was between you and Mason, Mason had actually showed me that he wanted to work with me and that he had loyalty to me, whereas you didn't. So yeah.
I completely respect that answer. That's personally, I can put that on me for not being more legitimate. I completely respect that answer. Julian, you want to say anything? Go ahead.
So to answer to comment about you saying that my social game wasn't that good, I definitely think that my social game is a lot better than some people are saying, just based upon people saying like I was quote unquote robotic in speaking to people verbally. I will say that this is something that I've been told a lot in my life, that like I come off as not genuine or robotic in conversation. Sometimes it's kind of hard for me to really show emotion as well. Sometimes I don't really know how to explain it. It probably doesn't make much sense, but that's just kind of something I've always struggled with. And I'm not saying it's an excuse, but I think that the fact that like I was able to maneuver myself to this point again without receiving any votes cast against me, and playing this game the way that I have to get to this point, I think that that shows that I had a good social game. Because if I didn't have a good social game, how would I have been able to maneuver the game as well as I did? Because this ultimately is a social game at its core. You can't get this far, make the moves that I've made, make the connections I made, and manage to get to this point without any votes cast against me the whole season without having the correct social ties to get that done. So I genuinely feel like my social game is a lot better than people are saying, and I'm probably beating on a dead horse, but that I hope that answers your question, McGuire.
No, that actually, I'm not gonna lie, that completely did answer my question. And I think that actually I understand the validity of what you said. Anyways, kind of basically what I said again. I think all of you three played underrated games in your own way, which is why I especially enjoy like this final three in general. It's just because like you guys played individually different games. That's it. But that's it. Again, that's all I gotta say. And yeah, I wish all three of you luck.
All right. Thanks, McGuire. Danny, you're up.
Okay, so I didn't come fully prepared. Did someone say something? Oh, okay. Anyways, I didn't fully come prepared to this, but I guess I kind of have a general idea of what I want to ask everybody. So I'm gonna ask Colin first. So Colin, I feel like I've developed a genuine like relationship with you in this game, and I'm very, very happy I met you, but it is a little hard to kind of see what moves you made throughout the duration of the game. So I'm going to kind of pinpoint one specific part of the game and ask you about that. So during the shy vote out, you claimed that you didn't have your vote, you had given it away, but you were attending the Zoom. Can you tell me more about why you did that?
Okay, so the whole like thing about me giving my vote away, that was actually a complete lie. I was actually, okay, please don't get mad at me, but I was the one vote for you, Danny.
I've been trying to figure that out the whole season.
Okay, but yeah, so at the time I thought the vote was going to be unanimous. So I threw the vote on you because I wanted to create chaos, but I also knew that since you were like my number one, that you would never suspect that I was the one to do it. So I figured I would walk away with my hands clean, and yeah.
Okay, and that you did because I was questioning about everybody but you. So congratulations on that. Jordan, you know, I I went into the jury a very, very, very big Jordan supporter. I was rooting for you. I loved your gameplay because I mean you were able to gaslight me a little bit, not gonna lie. Because after our conversation and how like I kind of blew up in the main chat and all that, and how we were just talking on a genuine level, I knew I couldn't cut your rope, and that's what sent me home. And you still, I think you voted me, right? God, I don't know. I just went into the jury such a big Jordan supporter. You come in here with a smile on your face. You're just very like calm, cool, collected about it all. But I did realize, kind of after sleeping on it, after really, really thinking about how I could have possibly just been bitter, I looked at Julian's game. And when I look at Julian's game, I look at the same game that Sarah Lucina played for. And the reason why is because he played the middle so, so, so perfectly to where nobody clocked him, nobody looked at him. He never got a vote to his name. And I think it's so hard to play that type of game without someone clocking you. But I just think he did it perfectly. So, like, Julian, I guess my question for you would be, how do you manage to keep votes off of your name while playing in the middle and kind of pissing people off every once in a while?
So the way that I am able to do this is by at the very beginning of the game, I call this the UTR 3-layer plan. So yeah, it sounds dumb, but it's pretty complicated. Pretty much what I do is I put myself in the middle, and then I have 4 people, 2 on one side of the game, 2 on the other side of the game. They branch out off to other people, and that allows me to have information that's going on all assets of the game. So that way I can trade information back and forth. So I can go tell, like for example, again, I'll use this example again with the tribal you went home when I told Landon, hey, Danny has an idol. You gotta vote for Danny because like she'll go home idle in pocket and stuff. So just to reiterate the move so it would then take place, right? That information, I would not have learned it had I not been tight with Mason, who told me that you gave him the idol, which allowed me to then know about the idol, confront you about it, right? So then what that then did was I knew for a fact you had it. So that way I was very careful how I played that round to make sure that you were not aware of the fact that you were going home, so you didn't play it, right? So it's things like that that I did in order to make sure that not only I survived the round, but moves happen without it appearing as though that I did them. And that's why in the UTR circle, I'm in the center, and then the 4 people that I have around me, those are the people that I trade the information to around in the game. So that way that goes out throughout the game, and that keeps me protected and makes those people get looked at. So that is how I'm able to keep myself from being targeted, from getting voted, from being seen as the ringleader by allowing myself to pass the information through other players. So that way I can still make moves and not be seen as the figurehead. But that's the only way that I'm able to do it. If it wasn't for that, there is no way in the world I would have been able to do that.
I think Jordan's raising his hand. Yes.
Yeah. I do think, yes, 100%. I think Julian played the middle very, very well. However, I dislike the comparison to Sarah Lucina there because Sarah Lucina pulled the trigger on her ally. Sarah Lucina voted out Sierra to get an advantage. She was able to cut. She voted in the majority way more times than Julian was able to do. And Julian didn't vote for Devin, didn't vote for Danny, could not pull the trigger on any of his allies except when it came to me, and that was the one time it didn't work.
See, I'm gonna have to disagree with you there because it's not that I didn't want to vote for those people. There were several opportunities where, yes, I could have voted with the majority. I knew where the majority was going, but I voted the way I did in case of an idle play to protect myself from potentially getting idled out of the game. That is why I voted for people. Like, and not even just, of course, with Colin. Again, I voted for him as well, so that way I would be the only person with no votes cast against me the whole season. But I also voted for him in case of an idle play. And that is something that I did in other rounds, like with the Devin vote. It wasn't just because I told him I wouldn't write his name down. It was also to prevent in case somehow he magically pulled out an idol and then something crazy happened. Everything I did in this game was not only to protect myself, but also to get myself further in the game. That is why sometimes I didn't vote in the majority. But I always knew usually what was going on. And actually, no, in every single tribal council in the merge, I knew who the majority was going to. Yes, of course, when Devin played his idol, Corey went home. But I knew the majority was going to Devin. And I knew that an idol could potentially get played, but I knew that there were people that were mulling over potentially putting their votes on other people in case of an idle play. So I was okay with voting that. So
yeah,
I know you're trying to knock my game in that regard. However, there was a method behind everything I did in the game, including not voting.
Okay. But I have moves like that too, because I also voted away from Danny. But it seems like every single move that you had was like that, where you don't have a move that was massive in the game that altered the course of the game, where you voted a majority and you pulled that trigger.
But you don't necessarily have to vote someone in order to make a move. You can plant seeds in the game, utilize your connections that you have in order to be able to make moves without necessarily having to vote the person in the majority. And that is the key thing that a lot of people in these games typically don't realize, is that you don't necessarily have to be the person that writes the person that's going home's name down on the parchment. You can write someone else's name down, but drive the vote, which is something that I did.
Well, if you guys like those types of moves, I did those too. If you like moves where I drove it completely and was the sole reason why someone went home, then I would also be the right candidate for that. And so if you like either way for that, I think I would be your option to win because I was able to do both.
The thing is, though, is that I was able to do that without being perceived as a threat, which is tougher to do than the way you did it. Because the thing about it is, yes, Jordan, you can say you did moves similar to what I did, but you can't say that you were able to do that without being targeted, because I was not targeted the entire season. So I was able to make these things happen, burn people when I need to, and still get to the end, and still be able to sit here and say that I should be the sole survivor. And not only that, but I also, again, like I said earlier, I threw challenges so that way I would also have my threat level be diminished. Because honestly, a lot of those challenges I could have won, but I knew that I didn't need that target on my back, and I knew I did not need that safety net at that time. But of course, towards the end of the game, that's when I turned on the Jets, and that's when I realized I needed to secure my spot to get to the end. So if that meant winning those last two challenges, that's what I was going to do. And I utilized the social savvy twist to my advantage to get here. And
yeah, but however, I I was able to like that's you say, oh, you did it without being targeted. I wasn't targeted until I knew, okay, I don't have to play this facade that I'm not that I'm a big threat that I'm like not a big threat anymore, because I can be the biggest threat in the game and I can't go home. And so it's not that my threat level became too big. I let it grow as big as it did because I didn't care, because I was fine with it being as big because I was safe. And when I needed my social connections, they came in clutch, like in the final 6 social savvy vote. So I also was able to manage the social savvy vote until it didn't matter to me if I was able to or not.
The thing is, yes, I also could have played that way where I didn't care about my threat level and I didn't care about making people want to target me. But the thing about it is though, is that my goal was to find a way to separate myself from everybody else in the game. And that way was playing the best way that I could while remaining under the radar. So yes, you can say, oh yeah, you probably would have gotten here regardless of if you were targeted or not. But at the end of the day, I'm getting just so distracted by this chat. Oh my gosh. But at the end of the
Same.
day, the way I see it is that I never needed to put on a facade that I wasn't a threat, because for the entire game, I was able to mask that I was a threat so that I could get to this point. And that, I think that is one of the biggest things that separates the two of us, is the fact that I played a phenomenal game and was still able to mask that. You didn't do that and you needed to put on a facade, but eventually you lifted that. But I continued to play that way and I never needed to lift anything because I put
But it shouldn't
myself
be
in
a
a
knock.
position to continue to get to this point.
But that shouldn't be a knock against me. And this is the last thing I'll say. And then if you want to rebuttal, I won't say anything afterwards, just so we can continue. But that shouldn't be a knock against me that I lifted my facade because I knew that I had an idol at 5. Like having an idol at 5 is a part of the game. It's like, and I earned the right to do that, and that shouldn't be a knock on my game. If anything, it should be a plus that I was able to keep the idol for that long and play it successfully. Even though, yes, there were rumors that I had an idol because there were murmurs in the game, and I tried to put it away from me by saying that the steal a vote was the second social search rather than revealing that it was the idol. But I believe that because of the way that I played there and was able, yes, to, using the buzzwords, manage my threat level, being able to play an idol at 5 and not caring what'll happen, that shouldn't be a knock against my game.
Oh, trust me, I'm not knocking your game
And
for
that,
having an idol. Like, I'm not trying to knock your game, but I'm just saying that when you compare the two of us, I think that it is more impressive to be able to play the way that I've played and remain under the radar, because that requires more deep strategy and more deep thought about your social connections to keep yourself in that position the entire game. Because it wasn't just like a thing where like I just turned on the Jets during the merge. No, I literally was playing this type of strategy from before the marooning. From the time that I saw that main chat and I saw who was in the cast, I started plotting. And I didn't deviate from that plan the entire season. And that is very, very hard to do, especially because things change and you can't really predict what's going to happen. But I stuck with that strategy. And that's how I was able to maintain it until this point.
I'll leave it there. Just to...
All right. I do have one more quick question so you guys don't go off on a fucking tangent again. Jordan, the question's for you. A, how long did you have that idol for? And B, why Landon at the final 5?
Okay. So I got the idol from the second social search, the Survivor Trivia one, and I targeted Landon. Yes, I believe I did say this, but it was because Julian had immunity, and I knew that Landon was also the like Landon was the most likely to beat me out of the others remaining in fire. He would be the most likely, and so I targeted him rather than anybody else. Not that I think that like not that like I think Landon was this massive strategic force, because he did have a good end game. And I'm not taking that away from him. But I'm also not saying that he was this massive threat or whatever. But I do think he was the biggest threat at that point, out of my three options to beat me in fire.
All right, gotcha. Well, I'm done asking questions and stuff. Thank you guys for playing with me. I actually had a really fun time playing the season, even though y'all stressed me out a lot. And good luck.
All right, thanks, Danny. Landon, you're up next.
Alrighty, so 2 years ago, right? I came in to a final tribal, and Jordan, you were my first option to vote that tribal. And you answered my question so poorly that my vote went to my second candidate, Nick Pellegrino, and he ended up winning. So I find it no fitting, no better to ask you the same question I did in Online Survivor Competition All Stars 2. And if you answer it badly again, I will vote for my second option, which is Julian. Okay.
Okay.
So I find it no fitting to do that better.
Ooh,
Tell me
okay.
your three biggest strategic moves and how it improved your position in the game and got you here.
Okay. Is it top three or just three?
I mean, I would assume
Like,
it's your top
does it have to
three,
be in
but,
order?
I mean, I don't want your
Okay,
bottom moves. Like,
I'm just gonna give you three moves. I'm not gonna give them like oh, this was my first best, this was my second best, this was my third best, but I will give you. Do I? Okay. And so okay, so my top three biggest moves. My I would say probably, if I had to rank them, probably my third best, just because it was so easy and it was just such a plan, was idling you out of the game to secure that I had at least my best shot possible at making fire, just to improve my odds of getting here. And then my second move that I would like to discuss would be stealing Mason's vote when we had a leak in the plan for to get Devin out 4-3, because my initial thought was, because Julian and Emily were both telling me that you were the leak, and I thought to myself, okay, well, what if I stole Landon's vote? However, I thought to myself, okay, if I steal Landon's vote and he's with me, I'm stealing a vote that's already for Devin, and so I only have 3 votes. So I need to steal somebody's vote that isn't a part of this plan, even though there is a leak, and make sure that I have the numbers that way, rather than ensuring that us 4 stuck together. So that was a really good strategic move on my part. And then I'd say the third one is 100% that Corey vote, making sure that you stayed in the game instead of him when McGuire offered to throw votes on you, and me taking control of that and saying, let's move that to Corey instead, because you were a massive part of the Devin vote, a massive part of the Danny vote, a massive part of so many moves in the game that help my game. And so if I don't do that, none of the other puzzle pieces come into play. And so you can pinpoint that move as maybe the move that solidified my spot in the end game, and quite possibly right here.
No, thank you. That was a good answer. Okay, Julian. So you're kind of like my number. Like, I'm leaning more towards Jordan, but like, anything can happen. In the final 6, we had a call, and you told me that you voted Jordan for the social savvy. 1, is that true? And 2, if it is true, I told you may have lost yourself the game there. Why would you let Jordan have a chance to participate in that challenge? And you said that he told you it was in the advantage was good for final 5. So, like, how can you kind of redeem yourself from that, right? Because I know you're a smart guy, you're strategical. How did it make strategical sense to vote him? And we could have taken a shot at him, and you could have got in a final 3 that was a little more optimal than the one you're in now.
Okay, so there are actually 3 reasons why I justified doing that. So the first one was, me and Emmy mulled over the idea of triangling with Jordan because Jordan had asked us to do it on his well, asked Emmy, and then Emmy told me about it, and we were discussing it privately. And we're mulling over the idea, and it came down to the fact that I was going to be the person that had to vote for Jordan to compete in the competition. And the way I saw it was, okay, so I wasn't entirely sure if he actually had an idol or not because he had told me that the vote steal was the social savvy that he got and that he didn't have an idol. So I wasn't sure, but my fear is that if he caught wind because if I were to have not voted for him, he knows, oh yeah, Julian's coming for me for sure, 100% he's coming out. So then he would know he was in trouble because at that point, him and I were like this in the game. We were actually like this for a good portion of the game. We like I'm gonna come out now and say this. Him and I were a duo from jump. I don't think anybody really realized that. We kind of piggybacked back and forth with moves a lot in the game, as well as me and Mason. But side tangent, I'm gonna shut up. So that was the main reason why I decided to not do that, because in the event that he had an idol, that could potentially screw me over. Because then Jordan's like, okay, Julian's coming for me now, obviously, because he didn't vote me for the social savvy. So maybe what I need to do is I need to try to get votes on him. And at that point, he plays the idol. Then since you would probably he'd probably tell you that he has the idol, then you vote for me, and then I go home. So that is the reason why ultimately I made that decision. I couldn't really say that when we were talking about it, when he confronted me about it, because it would come off sketchy. But that was ultimately the main reason out of the other reasons why I chose to go ahead and vote him in.
All right,
So
one
I hope
final
that-
question for Julian, and then I'm done. Name a specific time where you think that you outplayed Jordan. You outplayed him.
Okay. I think that the most loud and in your face like move where I outplayed Jordan, I definitely think was the transition between the Danny vote and the Curtis vote, because the information bouncing back and forth that I was able to do in order to make that move happen was all me. Like, of course, with the Danny vote, me and Curtis talked about it. We set it in stone early in the day. But like that transition from those two rounds, I was pivotal in making sure that those two people went home by making sure that the ducks were in the row for that to happen. Like, for example, again, remember when I told you about Danny's idol? I know I keep saying that, but that's like something that happened because
like you
it was
actually like that. Like I actually will give you credit there. Like you actually like kind of convinced me like that I need to do that. So like good on
and
you.
I did that specifically so that way, because I knew you were kind of wavering a little bit about it. So I did that to ensure the move would happen. And that's not the only time I did that, because I like prior to when Danny went, me and Curtis were talking and stuff, and Curtis had mentioned to me how he didn't like the way he was talking to him. He didn't like how Danny was clocking him for doing things against what she wanted, right? So I made sure to coast that fire up to then make sure that eventually Curtis would be pushing hard for Danny to go home, because I knew she was a threat to win the game. So those are two moves, but like I think that was the culmination of one big move that I made ultimately to outplay him, I think, in that regard. And I think that's definitely the best like example that I can show for how I outplayed him.
All right, thank you, you three. And I just want to say, Colin, you're like really cool too. I enjoyed talking to you. But yeah, that's it.
All right. Thanks, Landon, Emily. Wrap us up with jury speeches.
Oh God, not the wrap it up. Honestly, I think coming in this game would not get this far, but honestly think you all did a pretty good game in like different ways. But I have one question for all of you guys. What do you think you did better than everyone? Like for social, strategic, or whatever?
I guess I keep going first because nobody else wants to do it, I guess. I mean, I'm proud of my game and I'd love to share it with everybody. But what I think that I did the best, I mean if you want to know what what I did good physically. I mean, there's a reason why y'all didn't want me in any challenges, except for in Final Six, I guess. There's a reason why y'all didn't, and it's because I was the best physical player here, winning 3 individual immunities, which was the most of anybody, and even when Julian and Landon weren't at the carry the load challenge, Owen and I were the only ones, and Owen dropped first, so I had to do all of the push-ups myself. And so if you want to look at physical, there you go. And I'm sorry, this is a sore subject, but winning fire is a physical thing. And then in terms of strategically, I mean, I made so many different types of moves. Where I may have not voted a majority, moves that I can only I can take sole possession of, and I think I'm the only one out of the 3 of us that can say that I had moves where I am the sole reason why they happened. And then in terms of socially, I mean, yeah, I was able to make sure that people trusted me enough so that, yeah, I mean, I mean that lie with the saying that the steal a vote was the second search item, that saved my game, because then nobody's sure if I actually did have an idol or not, and that saved that saved my ass in a social vote in order to make sure that I could make my run to the end. And so that's with your back against the wall, being able to do things physically. Back against the wall, you can make your way out strategically, and backs against the wall, I could make it out of there socially. I could maneuver my way through any position in the game using any of the 3 aspects of Survivor in order to make it to the end today.
I guess I'll go next. So for the physical aspect of the game, there were several challenges where I did not put my 100% effort in because I wanted to maintain what I had been building, which was my under the radar gameplay. That was my biggest attribute in this game because it is the reason that I was able to pivot my way here, was because I was able to manage my threat level so well. So I won 2 challenges at the end of the game because I needed those. Because Jordan even said it himself. If he had the opportunity to, he would have thrown me in fire. He would have tried to take me out because he saw me as his biggest threat at this point in the game. So I knew that. So that is why, with the social savvy vote, I did what I had to do to ensure that I had the best chance of winning those 2 challenges to get to the end. When it comes to my strategic game, my game had multiple layers to it. It had the aspect of making sure that myself was covered while also making sure that I was able to carry out moves and make decisions that would better my game. Even when people were saying like, oh my gosh, Julian, like you gotta, this isn't best for your game. You shouldn't do this. I knew what was best for my game, and I didn't let anybody tell me what was the best decision for me because I had planned out and I had looked at the way the lines were going in the game, where their loyalties were aligned, where people were voting, to plot out my path here. And I definitely think that puts me above the other 2 finalists in the strategic department. And then with the social aspect of the game, yes, I know people are saying that I may have come off as robotic and whatnot, and that is a fault of mine. That's something I've struggled with a good portion of my life. People not really thinking that I show a lot of emotion in conversation. However, my social game was good enough for me to be able to get to this point. Again, I've said this a bunch of times, beat on it like a dead horse, that I was able to get here without receiving any votes cast against me. I was able to influence all sides of the game throughout the game, backstab people when it was necessary, and while doing that, still being able to maintain the relationships that I had gained and making sure that the relationships that I had made from the beginning of the game continued to thrive. And so I think that I also encompassed the social aspect of the game as well, because I was able to strategically utilize my social game to put myself in a position to get here to this point in the game, and also use my social game to win challenges. So I encompassed my game with my social game to get to this point ultimately. So I think I was definitely the most social savvy player.
Okay, for me, I think what I did really good at was just making sure that when I was in hot water to use the strategic side of my brain to get myself out of those situations. First example was pre-merge after the swap when me, Danny, Corey, Noah, and Curtis went to tribal. I was in hot water and I ended up giving my vote to Corey, who I had the worst connection with, but I knew he was connected to Danny. So if I gave Corey my vote, those two would be like, oh, Colin trusts us. So we would end up voting together and have majority. And I kept myself safe by one vote, which ended up saving me. Second example was in fire. I made up a lie saying I didn't have any cards when I did. And because of that,
I knew it too.
I'm sorry, but because of that,
I knew it.
Since Julian's main priority was to get Jordan out, I knew he would automatically pick Emmy instead of me, because if he picked me, Jordan would automatically win.
Mm-hmm. I fucking knew it too. I don't think I have anything else to say, but just gonna listen to what you guys have to end with it. And I knew it, Colin. I fucking knew it. You had cards, and I wasn't wrong. I knew it. I should have told Julian to put you.
Okay, thanks, Emily. So now we are going to move on with the closing statements. So we're going to go in reverse order. So Julian, you're up first with your closing statement. Your 5-minute timer starts now.
Okay. So for my closing statement, ultimately I feel as though my gameplay was in a manner that allowed me to control moves and make decisions without being seen as a figurehead. It allowed me to play under the radar and not get targeted. This was all due to hours of planning and plotting, and I did each and every single day to navigate the social dynamics of the game. To strategically get myself further through each and every single round I was a part of. Players like Mason, for example, bounced their ideas off of me and planned so much that I was almost always aware of everything going on in the game on both sides of the game. Ultimately getting here with no votes cast against me the entire season and having a hand in the decision making for every round. I even managed to utilize a social savvy twist to secure my spot in the final three. All of these reasons, I feel as though I'm most deserving of the title of Sole Survivor, as I put my heart and my soul into this game, from the start to finish, to not only rewrite my history with this franchise, but also prove to myself that I'm capable of getting here, playing the best game I could. And yes, I know that the elephant in the room is, hey, Julian's a robot. Julian didn't really show a lot of emotion. Julian rehearsed his conversations with people. I know I'm not the most charismatic person in the world. I know I'm not the most emotionally driven person in the world. I know sometimes I struggle to show that to people and show that I care, but I definitely feel as though that I tried to play the best way that I could with the cards I was dealt. I played under the radar, like I said, as best as I could. And even though my emotions didn't really show it, the conversations I had with people were genuine. I made a lot of great friends in this season, and I had a lot of fun getting to know people that I had never spoken to before, like Jordan, like dude, like I had so many great conversations with you and stuff. And just coming back to this game after, my first time out, I'm sure all of you guys know the story. I had just gotten out of the hospital and like I wanted to see if I could still play and if I could still hang with the big dogs. And I got 16th place because my tribe looked at me and was like, you're useless. Like, let's just get rid of you. And it sucked. And it really put a damper on things because I really wanted to see if I could still hang with people. And then finally getting the opportunity to play again, I really wanted to get here so I could prove to myself, as well as everybody else, that I could still play the way that I know that I can play and that I could make the right decisions when I need to in order to get myself to this spot. And I really hope that you guys can take into consideration the dedication and effort I put into this game and the amount of hours I put into planning and strategizing and connecting in order to get myself to this point. I respect everyone here. I respect the other two finalists. As you guys played great as well. I'm not here to shit on people, but I do think that realistically, I played the best overall rounded game out of everybody else here. And I hope that the jury can respect my game and vote me as the winner of this season, because I really do think that I deserve it. And that's all I have to say.
All right, thanks. Colin, you're up. Your 5 minutes starts now.
Okay. So coming into this game, I knew absolutely nobody. So the fact that I even made it to the final three is something I'm actually really proud of. Even if my game was a complete mess, I think the fact that I'm here is a great accomplishment. One thing I will take away is the people that I met. Devin, you're one of my favorite allies of all time. Emmy, although we kind of had like our ups and downs, you're still someone that I enjoyed working with and talking with as well. Landon, we didn't really connect till the end, but I enjoyed your calls and stuff. McGuire, I like talking with you about personal stuff, as I said. Danny, you're also one of my favorite allies of all time. I think you're an incredibly underrated player. Things I found out after you were voted out actually really impressed me. So Danny, underrated. I will stand by that. And everyone else was also really great to play with. I know I'm not going to win, but if you can't decide between Jordan and Julian, just know there is a third option, and I would gladly have your vote.
Colin, what did you say about me? I completely
right.
dozed off. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait. Do you want to?
I was just asking what he said about me because I completely dozed off.
I don't think he said anything. Because he wasn't very socially.
Yeah, I know. That's not very socially savvy, bro.
No, Owen, you were cool.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay. Jordan, your 5 minutes starts now.
All right. I'm really glad that I get to finish this off, even though I was really nervous to start with the starting speeches. But all I have to say to you guys is that in this game, I was able to encapsulate so many different types of Survivor gameplay that I've learned, and I really just put it all out there. I definitely I showed that I could do a Julian style move where I cleared myself from all blame from both sides when I was put between a rock and a hard place, because I really didn't want to vote for Danny after the personal talk we had, and I needed to maintain my relationship with Devin. And so so yeah, I was able to make sure that since I knew that Devin and Curtis weren't really connecting like this on talking a lot about gameplay, I was able to convince both sides that I was with them, because I did vote for Landon, but Curtis was so dead set that I was with them that it didn't matter because he was so shady about Landon. And I had moves that I planned and voted in majority to make sure that it happened when McGuire, Mason, and I planned the shy vote. And that was a group effort. So I showed that I could work in a group and just punch my ticket and vote somebody off. And then of course I have my moves that I've talked about that I won't bring up again, but moves that I planned that that I can claim sole possession for. I was an overachiever. I was an underdog. I was able to get that last nail in the coffin with that one social vote that allowed me to slip my way into this FTC. And above all else, I played with heart, I played with passion, and I put it all out there from everything that I've learned in order to make the best game possible that I can think of myself doing for this season. And and once again, Colin and Julian, I wish you the super best of luck in these votes. Y'all are awesome, and I really appreciated having fun with all of you.
All right. Thank you, Jordan. And with that, we are going to begin voting for a winner. So when I call your name, you guys already know what the drill is when it comes to voting. Please send me the name of the person you'd like to win Survivor Conquest Season 8. Owen, you're up. Okay, McGuire, you're up. All right, Danny, you're up. Landon, you're up. Oh my God, the timer went off. Emily, you're up.
Wait, who are we waiting for to vote?
I'm just doing Emmy's vote right now.
Oh, okay, per.
All right, have all the votes. Just give me a second. All right, you guys, I have received all the votes. So before I read the votes, I want to thank you all for people are coming now. All right, so I'll do my spiel anyway. So I want to thank you all for another amazing season of Survivor Conquest. But now it's time to read the votes. So these are votes for winner. You want to see your name on the parchment tonight. Here we go. First vote, Jordan. Julian, that's one vote Jordan, one vote Julian. Jordan, that's two votes Jordan, one vote Julian. Julian, we're tied again. That's two votes Jordan, two votes Julian. Jordan, that's three
for anyone
votes
else.
Jordan, two votes Julian. Julian, we're tied again. That's three votes Jordan, three votes Julian. Jordan, that's four votes Jordan, three votes Julian. Julian, we're tied again. That's four votes Jordan, four votes Julian. Jordan, that's five votes Jordan, four votes Julian, one vote left. Julian, for the first time in Survivor Conquest history, we have a tie. So the rules of the tiebreaker is, Colin, you become the 11th and final member of the jury and will cast the deciding vote.
Yo, no way.
You must do that now, please.
I
We
can't
didn't
ask them
plan
anything.
this. We did not plan this. I
No.
swear to God.
Did we not?
I guess you can ask a jury question since you're now on the jury. Sure.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
Anything you guys want to say last minute?
I would like to say that I'm sorry, I'm like shaking. I'm nervous. This is crazy. Like, this has never
Take your
happened to me
time.
before.
Take your time. It's okay.
I think that I would appreciate for you to vote for me to win. I definitely made an effort to reach out to you throughout this game and, you know, try to stay in touch with you and to try to loop you in as best as I could. I definitely valued you as a player in this game, and even before Final Tribal Council, we were talking about like the way that the game was looking like it was playing out, and even though you were doubting yourself, I still like let you know, like, hey man, like you still played, you know what I'm saying? Like, you still made moves, you still made decisions, you still like traded information back and forth, and you still played the game, and um, I really hope that you'll vote for me to win because I'm sorry, oh my god, this is crazy.
Yeah,
It's okay.
I'll go obviously after. I just like I know that we 100% we were not on the same page. I don't think that's either of our faults, but at least we talked about it, and you and we knew where each other stood, and you told me at the end of the game, yeah, like my vote's going towards you at Final Five, my vote's going towards you here. I think you're the biggest threat to win. I think you played the best game, and all of these things, and I just truly would like it would just be amazing if those words were able to come to fruition and you were able to write down my name tonight as the winner and finally get my name in a friggin' bio. That would absolutely mean the world to me. And so I'm gonna leave the decision up to you, and I'll just hope. Thank you, Colin.
Oh my
Colin,
God.
I need you to cast the deciding vote for the winner of this season.
I know. I don't know what to do. Oh my God. I feel like they both have like such great stories. That's why I just don't know. Hmm. Okay, no hard feelings to either of you. Um, yeah, I don't know. I voted, so I guess he'll reveal whenever, but you both played great.
Oh, I was muted. All right, I have received Colin's vote. The winner of Survivor Conquest Season 8, Social Savvy. Congratulations, Jordan. You are the winner of Survivor Conquest Season 8.
Good job, Jordan.
Okay,
Congrats.
season's
Yes,
over.
Jordan.
Hey, good job,
Yes,
Julian.
Jordan.
Julian, you played a hell of a game.
Congratulations,
What happened,
y'all.
but yay, Jordan.
Julian, you played the hell of a game, man.
Well
You
played,
all
Julian.
did so good.
Julian, you did do amazing. Isaiah doubted you. I told Isaiah.
Okay, I will be
Jordan,
honest.
no, shut
I
the
was
fuck up, Isaiah.
wait, let me
Isaiah
finish.
thought this was
Let me
gonna
give
be a
my
runaway.
spiel. Hold on. I do believe Julian did play a good game. I did not think it was going to come as close as it did because of what I saw in the jury chat, but as FTC was going on, things like that, definitely saw the tie coming. Me personally, I would have voted for Jordan to win, and I think like if I had a vote, I think Jordan is the most deserving. Although not saying that Julian wouldn't be a deserving winner because I think Julian did also play a good game. So, yeah. So Jordan, I mean, do you want to give some words? Season 8 winner.
Okay. I'm okay. 1,105 days in the fandom has been leading up to finally getting a win in one game. I can't believe it. It's a miracle that that I've been put in this situation. I'm so proud of myself. Congratulations to Julian. Thank you so much, Colin. Um, like y'all were amazing finalists. The fact that it came down to a tie is crazy. Finally, yeah, like because Landon was the deciding vote 2 years ago, and I lost in one of the biggest seasons of all time, OSC season 9, All Stars 2, and uh, and now I'm just finally, I just can't believe that it finally happened. It finally freaking happened. I finally won a game. Oh, bye, Jeff.
All right. Julian, I mean, 5 votes, runner up. I mean, even though you didn't win, I definitely think you should be proud of the way you played this season. I mean, no votes cast against you. You were so close, so close. So, like, what do you have to say?
This is the third FTC I've attended. I've lost again. And coming back to this franchise after getting 16th place and feeling like I was just a good player, like I really just wanted to try to get to the end and win to prove to myself that I could still do it. Like I've been coming up short so much. I've been in this fandom a long time. I mean, I can't really be too upset because I have 55 wins, base game wins. So I have a lot. And Jordan, this is the first win. I'm so proud of him. He was my duo, ride or die. Like if anyone was going to beat me, glad it was him because dude played great. It sucks. It sucks because I really wanted this win. Like, I put so much effort into this. Everybody, like Danny and Emily, like they were my friends before this game started. Like I vented to them about how much this game meant to me. I came up short, and honestly, like I can't really be too upset because I did everything I could to try to win the game. But since the jury stage, it's up to the jury to decide. But it definitely sucks to, one of the knocks to my game being the fact that like people think I'm a robot because like, it's just something I've struggled with my whole life. Being someone that people just didn't really vibe with, getting bullied in any way, shape, or form. Like it just kind of made me not really like know how to conduct myself as well in social settings. But then once I got to college, like people seem like they're actually wanting to talk to me, and so like it's definitely something that's been pointed out to me by those people and stuff, and I've been trying to work on it. And it's definitely something that I could improve on is trying to show more emotion in that big conversation. But I can't really feel bad about the game I played. I guess it's just more so I'm just disappointed that this is my third final tribal taking second place. And I don't really know what else I need to do to improve other than, I guess, the charisma aspect. But it is what it is. But congratulations, Jordan. You killed it. Like, great.
So you did do absolutely amazing, Julian. Like I said, Isaiah was not thought Jordan was going to run away with this. I told him, I think it's going to be a lot closer than you think, and
Initially,
yeah, it was.
Yeah, no, initially, yeah, because I mean the reaction in the jury chat was like, "Oh, Jordan's winning, Jordan's winning." So I just assumed, okay, Jordan's gonna win. But then I saw like, oh,
Go ahead.
Say something.
Oh, I was just gonna say one thing that I think is very, very cool about Jordan is that, like, the fact that I'm like a lunatic at this, man. I've been playing these games forever. And the fact that he was able to go toe to toe with me in the final tribal, where like he's been known for not doing well in, that says a lot about players. So I really cannot be upset because just the fact that he was able to answer questions as well as he did, just do the things that he did in order to get this win. Like I cannot.
Yeah, obviously I had to try to separate myself from Julian's game, but Julian and I did so much together that was definitely really hard to do because we definitely bounced ideas off each other an awful lot, and definitely hearing you say great things about my game, because I see you as such a good player, such an amazing player, even that that definitely sparks like amazingness in me because I definitely I definitely see you as somebody that I'm gonna take a lot of things from moving forward in games and stuff.
Don't take the robo talk though. Don't do that.
No,
Hey,
I already
please
know.
don't do that because I will.
No, I already learned that from Isaiah because Isaiah was the robot for the longest time.
Isaiah, not gonna lie, Isaiah has to have FTC speeches written for him. Okay,
No,
like
that's not even true. All right. So
I've heard of people
Colin,
using Chat GDP.
So Colin, you made it to the final tribal council. Regardless, making it to the end is difficult. Do you have anything you'd like to say? And also, like, yeah, you casted the deciding vote. I guess the question for you is, why did you vote for Jordan over Julian? What was it for you that I guess that you voted that way?
Yeah, honestly, I was kind of leaning more towards Julian only because I am like a fan of like that under the radar type of gameplay, and I feel like Julian like had that, but I just feel like Jordan, like watching his game play out, I just felt like this season was kind of meant for him, and the fact that he's like known for awful tribal council, like final tribal council performances, and he honestly did like amazing today. I just felt like this is like his time to win, so that's why I felt I should vote for him.
Okay. So I guess, I mean, typically how I do my reunion thing, there is no structure. I guess I just talk about whatever comes to mind if anybody has any questions or whatever. I guess my overall thoughts on this season, I'm not gonna lie. Initially, I did not like this season all that much.
oh yeah.
I thought it was going to be the worst Conquest season we have ever had. I was not enjoying it. There was times where I wasn't really into it.
I knew it. I was on to you, Isaiah.
McGuire did say that at one point.
But when we hit
day
merge,
one.
but when we hit merge and things like that, things start to pick up. And
it was the Shava that blew the game up.
So yeah, so the season became more interesting. I think the season ranks for me third or fourth out of all 8 seasons.
I rank it third. This is below season 7 and season 5 All Stars. But very, very good season. I mean, I can kind of piggyback off what Isaiah said. The reason why we were worried about this season is, one, from the marooning and from the pregame, we felt like this season had the greatest possibility of being a very toxic season. And we were very worried about that, where it was just going to be a lot of people being really hateful towards one another. Turns out that we actually got a very pleasant season. And honestly, I found it to be kind of a bittersweet season in the sense that, to be very blunt, this is very, very, very likely the second to last season of Conquest. Next season is going to be All Stars 2, and it's 99% chance that that's going to be the last Conquest season. So seeing some of the returnees that we wanted to see come back go out, like the main ones that pop into mind are Maguire and Owen going out early in the merge, was very sad to see because I don't think they're going to be back for All Stars 2. So seeing some of the players go out that is very bittersweet in a way, especially considering they both matched previous placements of theirs. They did not do better.
Fuck you, buddy.
But we, come merge, we were very, very happy with how the season turned out after the shy vote, because we were worried that it was going to be, for lack of a better terms, Devin's side that was just going to take over the game and run with it to the end. So the fact that we saw people that were close with Devin actively planning his downfall, like Danny, like Julian, it was really fun to see that the game was really going to crack wide open into the shy vote. Fucking amazing vote. Oh my God, that was insane. One thing we should point out to maybe just the final three that doesn't know it. Devin and Chai both lost their votes. Devin lost it for 5 tribal councils. Shay lost it for 4 tribal councils. That was due to a social savvy twist at the merge, where they both found the beware advantage, but only one of them was going to get the idol. Whoever was willing to give up their vote for more tribals, ranging from 1 to 5, was going to get the idol. As it turns out, Devin was willing to give up his vote for 5 tribals, meaning he first voted after the merge at the final 8.
Yeah, Curtis called that in the game.
Oh, did he? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Also-
Curtis called that in the game. Curtis figured that one out.
Something. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, yeah, Curtis was the one who figured that. Yeah, let's go, Curtis.
Yes, Curtis.
Good
Yes,
job, Curtis.
Something
job.
I should
Curtis.
talk about is who voted where. So I'm pretty sure most of you are probably curious because the vote was so close. So Owen voted for Jordan, Shy voted for Jordan, Corey voted Julian, Maguire voted for Jordan, Danny voted for Julian, Curtis voted for Julian, Devin voted for Jordan, Mason voted Julian, Landon voted Jordan, Emily voted Julian, and then Colin voted Jordan, which was tie-breaking vote. So yeah.
So I got all the votes I thought I would get, and then I got none of the ones I thought I could get those.
I was leaning on you, Jordan. I really was.
I was
swear.
too, but it was just
I think
Don't
everybody was
patronize
leaning, to be
me.
honest.
No.
yes.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions for even just about yourself, how you thought how
I never do awards.
we
Never.
thought you played.
What?
No, we
I
don't
was
do
wrong.
awards.
Just admit it.
No, never do awards.
No.
Oh, that was so
No,
wrong.
no, you weren't, Rob. We were fucking celebrating when you got voted out, Owen.
Yeah, you probably were.
I think I was a little bit too.
I
Danny has a question, I guess.
Yeah. What's the question?
What was your initial thoughts on how you thought I was going to play?
We wanted you gone so early.
From what I've heard about you, so I knew quite a few people. Well, I knew quite a few people came from Survivor Adventure, and then Owen, season 6 winner. I was like talking to him and like asking like who is it that like who you would recommend and stuff like that. And one of those people, like you were one of the names. He told me so that. Because apparently, I think you won recently and played a good game, so I expected for you to be a good player.
She ate that season up. So.
Also,
And
not
you were-
apparently she played well or something. I don't know.
She did. She ate that up. I was spectating. She ate that season up.
Actually, speaking of, I guess, how people played, something I could go over now is the rankings for this season.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, there might be some controversy with this one.
Oh, Kyle, do you want to take it away?
Oh, I'd love to.
I'm
Hold on,
lost.
I need to find them. I need to find them.
Josh, maybe
William.
like 16th.
All right. Where are the season rankings? Here they are. All right. I'll go
Yes, Danny.
I'll go bottom up to make it dramatic. All right. So at number 18 we have Will, poor Willapig 66. Then we
Yes,
have
Will.
Marco, Jack, Noah, Frankie. This mostly goes in order for a while. Then we have Owen, Che, McGuire, Corey. So McGuire and Corey swap. Then we have Colin at 9, Emily at 8, Landon at 7, Danny at 6, Curtis at 5, Devin at 4, Mason at 3, Julian at 2, and Jordan at 1.
So
Let's go, Mason.
So yeah, I guess the part
Next.
we thought would be controversial was like Landon, because to be fair, I honestly do believe the time that Landon was there, I thought Landon was playing well, and I thought Landon did have a really good end game.
He did.
So, yeah. I mean, I don't
I
know.
just
There's
can't
no-
wait to see Jordan's winner edit in that fucking outfit.
Oh, we actually already have his edit. Isaiah made it last night, and then worriedly had to make a Julian one because we knew the vote was very going to be close.
Yeah, so I did. Well, I didn't finish it because I didn't know what the vote count was going to be, and I usually put how many votes the winner receives. So, I'd have to add that, and the DVD cover was
Isaiah,
also-
since you're like not gonna post it for a while, can you send it to me just so I can like save it to my
yeah,
computer?
I know you
No,
asked me to do
thank
that,
you.
which is why I made it
Yeah.
last night. So, well, I still got to add that one part, but yeah.
When are you posting it? Like tonight or?
Oh no, definitely not tonight.
Isaiah, can you do me a favor?
Isaiah's taking his time. Yeah, what's up?
So the buff edit for the merge, could you send me it?
Yes, I can do that as well.
Okay. Because I want
but-
to add this season to my collection.
Gotcha. No, so I'm gonna take a bit of typically in seasons past, I post the season like right away because I'm usually like ahead and on top of edits because I usually do like a season.
Oh, I gotta record a confessional.
Um,
But by the way, I didn't film a single confessional.
yes, I need a
I didn't
confessional
either.
from you.
Okay.
But because the next season isn't going to happen for a while, I'm not in a rush to really post the season. It won't take me like forever. Maybe like I don't know,
Bruh.
or something.
Okay. I was going,
What did he say,
bruh,
month?
I swear to God, if you don't post the season, I finally get a win. I
No, it's
swear
gonna
to
be
God,
posted.
Isaiah.
I'm 7 for 7 in terms of posting. This one will definitely be posted.
My dumbass casting phone.
Jordan, I would have thought
No,
you
Jordan,
won
send me
like
your
a
winner
few
edit when he gets
games,
it because I want to see that
honestly.
shit.
No, because the issue is that I make it to FTC and then I choke so hard.
So that's
It's
what they're talking
unreal.
about.
You didn't
Yeah,
choke though. You
no.
did really well, and I like the fact that you're really both of you, Julian and Jordan, are really fighting for the win. So I do appreciate that.
And Colin
Yeah,
just stayed down.
One thing Isaiah has been wanting for Conquest, which we never really got, was a competitive FTC, and he finally got that.
Yeah,
The
because
only
we have
thing now,
two sweeps in Conquest.
yeah,
No, I loved it.
yeah, there's certain things I've always wanted to see in my franchise. Like I wanted to see Rocks for a while. We got that last season and this season.
Yeah.
Yes, the first vote. The first vote.
And then whatchamacallit? Close FTC tie vote. I think the only thing missing that I'd like what else? I guess the only thing I'd like to see, I feel like it'd be fitting for All Stars to have a 2-time winner, but
Jordan, you're up.
Why are
Good
you
luck.
laughing,
No,
Danny?
Because I
No,
love
I don't even
fucking
know
Will
how to play.
Colton. Will, I love you.
Oh, hi, Danny.
I hate
Hi.
Will.
I knew that
Colton.
was Will, by the way. It was
Frick
so
I
obvious.
Will
didn't know it
Coleman.
was him. I was so
Owen, how'd you know it was me?
Noah messaged me.
Because I saw
Noah,
Will, because I
Noah
saw you
congratulated
join,
me.
and then I saw you change your name, and you were literally
Okay, big perceptive. I don't care. I think I was doing a good job at hacking it. I don't know.
You're so
I was
dumb.
about
By
to
the
start
way,
saying some problematic stuff, but then I was like, nah, maybe not.
Jordan,
You kinda
name
started.
is in the bio.
I was like, can the 50% come out? I was like, can the 50% come out with my Spice-X? And I was like, nah.
Oh my god.
Oh, I feel like I'll turn my camera back off. Okay.
Yes, Curtis.
Yes,
I love
Curtis.
bowling and my wife and kids.
Not the wife. Not the
Not the
wife.
wife and kid.
Actually, he's getting divorced, but